Welcome to the Cocoon House podcast. You may be used to seeing Joe interviewing us, like interviewing people, but today it's the youth interviewing him. We're going to be talking about advocacy and leadership and how youth can drive the future of Cocoon House and other programs outside of it. Let's introduce ourselves.
My name is Mars. My pronouns are they, them. I have been doing advocacy for a very long time since I was very young. I've had to advocate for myself a lot. Advocacy is a very big thing in my life.
Hi, I'm Oakley. My pronouns are he, him. Advocacy's always been important to me, just for as long as I can remember, just standing up for the little guy.
My name is Caesar. I like helping out with stuff and getting myself involved. And I like to keep busy, so. Who are you?
And I am Joe. I use he, him pronouns, and I like to see advocacy woven into all facets of the work that I do at Cocoon House.
Let's ask you our first question. What do you do here at Cocoon House?
What do I do at Cocoon House? Well, I suppose in the easiest way of saying it, I am responsible for making sure that Cocoon House attains the mission, which is to break cycles of homelessness for youth and young people across Snohomish County. So my job is, I think of it as kind of like a conductor, like I'm trying to drive the train towards that mission goal, trying to pick up as many like folks who are in need of support along the way towards that mission, and as many folks as we can get to understand the work and come on board in support of that mission. So community from all sides, and my job is to try to ensure that that happens. That's kind of a strange, maybe cheesy analogy, but sort of the way I think about it.
What kind of advocacy have you done as CEO or in previous jobs?
Yeah, I think advocacy plays, like I mentioned in my intro, I think it plays out in a lot of different things. So obviously right now, there's a lot of change happening with federal policy and funding. So there's a lot of advocacy for ensuring that funding stays available for the vital programs and services that Cocoon House offers. It's advocating against any policies or legislation that might put young people in harm's way. So again, looking at who are the youth served by the Cocoon House mission and making sure that policies and things that are implemented are not going to be a detriment to the folks that we work with. So there's that level of advocacy at the larger scale. I've been involved in advocacy to increase funding amounts for programs like transitions, advocacy around increasing length of stay for shelter programs like our East County shelter. Both have actually been successful efforts that I've been able to be a part of. We advocate for funding at different, at the state and local levels as well. Advocating for funding for paying for things like youth board. And so some of the smaller things that we're able to do within Cocoon House takes a level of advocacy. So it really kind of plays out in all facets of the work that I do.
How do youth voices add to the decision-making in Cocoon House?
Great question. There's a lot of times where I think people that are removed from programs like myself think that, if we implement this, it'll be helpful to the youth. And the youth, it's a good reminder for folks like me that the young people we serve are the experts of their lives, right? You know more about what you need probably than I do. I can have an idea, but when I think of youth voice, it takes what could be a good program and can make it great, right? There's little things that we can do as a community and as an organization that really enhance the experience that young people are going to have. So while a safe environment might be a really vague thing that we can offer, a safe environment that provides feelings of security or feelings of stability, that can really be enhanced by the involvement that our youth have and what that space or that surrounding look like. So I think, to me, there's a lot of upside and very little cost, very little downside to being able to elevate youth voice across the different programs that we have.
How do youth and adults shape Cocoon House together?
I think that this is happening all the time. And the reason I say this is because we have official ways, right? So I think, again, the youth board, youth involvement in official activities like being a part of the board or being involved in like the interview process for staff, being involved in some of our community events. Those are official ways that I think the youth and staff partnership help grow the organization. But I also think just the youth in communicating to staff what you need or what you want or what ideas you have for the organization, whether you know it or not, a lot of times that's going through the staff chain of command, and I'm learning about it in meetings. And so we're trying to make decisions that really honor the things that we're hearing from our young people. And so I've always encouraged, whether it's formal channels or informal channels, like talk to the staff about what it is that you need and what the ideas you have for success for yourself or your peers, what those are. And informally, a lot of times those get put into motion. I'm a believer that if you talk about it enough, it starts to happen, whether it's official or not. So I think it's not necessarily being a squeaky wheel, but being clear and, hey, this would actually help myself and peers that I live and work with. I'm always a fan of when a young person can identify a problem and identify a solution with it, because that's so helpful in, okay, wow, we've got a solution on the table, like why not implement it? And so being able to do that and being able to do that in partnership with the staff, I think is a really valuable time use of time.
That's something I've seen a lot at my time at Cocoon House. Like whenever I have something that I want to change, I usually like bring that up. Like a lot of things changed to East during my stays because I was always very vocal and very persistent on advocating for change.
Well, I think if you're someone who's in a position of authority or decision making, when someone brings a problem and maybe you're busy and to have to then figure out, okay, what's the problem? What are all the solutions? Researching solutions, figuring out what's feasible, takes time and energy and can be a little daunting. But if someone comes to you with, hey, this is something I'm seeing as a problem. Here's a couple of ideas I have that might solve the problem. What do you think? It's so much easier to respond in the affirmative when there's some already idea generation that's been done. And I see our young people have ideas all over the place. Why wouldn't we incorporate those into our decision making and use that voice? We're not gonna. It's gonna lead to a healthier result.
Especially if you're like helping youth, you would want to take their ideas to make the company a better place.
Right. And that's a form of advocacy, right? You're in the program, in the space, advocating for something that's not only going to serve you better, but going to serve the community better as well.
Looking ahead, where do you think do you see any opportunities for youth to advocate for themselves and to impact their future?
When I've been with this organization for 12 years, which is
Where'd you start off?
wild. When I came to Cocoon House, I was in the role Rachel has right now. So I was director of programs. So I was overseeing all the programs. And I think what I've seen is an evolution of growth. And I don't think we've at all stopped or reached our peak. But the way that bringing young people to the table, creating the youth board, creating paid opportunities within the youth board, seeking funding as an organization to make sure we can support activities for our youth has been something we've evolved through, right? And that's really, really good. I would like to see our youth board continue to grow in impact and probably membership. When I think about leadership and advocacy, I think our chat committee, the Cocoon House advocacy team, has opportunities for youth to get involved in, local advocacy, election participation, voting, like a lot of civic responsibilities. I think also will help our community. There's there's opportunities at Cocoon House for youth roles on the Cocoon House official board of directors, and that's like a official, essentially one of the people I report to, right? You'd be my boss in that capacity. There's also positions for youth to represent on local boards like the Partnership to End Homelessness, which is a county-wide board where there's seats for young people to represent. So I think about what we're trying to do in-house and to do more of it in Cocoon House, but then spin off of that into the broader community, because I do think our youth have such unique experience that we want that to impact the community at large and not just here at Cocoon House. Well, so thinking about your time at Cocoon House, have you seen places where advocacy and opportunities to have youth voice and leadership is working well? And then conversely, do you see specific areas where we need improvement?
There are also some really great advocacy things that we have been able to do. Like, for example, going to Olympia with Mockingbird. Like, that's been a really great thing for youth to do, to go advocate at a larger level, and like anyone's able to go. Or like we're able to go to different like lower level elections and stuff and talk about what we need and how we need to be heard.
So on the scale of impact, you know, you mentioned the Advocacy Day with Mockingbird and Olympia. I know you all hosted an event with Mayor Franklin to come and talk. What's been the most impactful? Do you feel like those opportunities have a real impact, and would you like to see more things like that, more opportunities? What was the most meaningful to you all? Was there anything that really stands out in your mind?
I really liked getting to meet with the mayor because that's on a local level. Like, we live in the city, so
City, and we could actually put our inputs how to improve the city and stuff.
Yeah, and she really seemed to like reciprocate some of our ideas, and then not reciprocate, but like understand our ideas and actually want to do something about them, and not just like nod us down and feel like we can't really do that.
yeah.
You just mentioned, Caesar, being involved in the community, and that can look at a million different ways, but you know, it is having more opportunity to interface with the community about whether it's your experience or the experience of you know, peers and young people you know. There's an element of kind of storytelling, and is that something that you all find interesting and would want people to know, that like how to support young people in need, how to support organizations that are trying to lift up young people? I mean, what's the interest you all have in that space?
I think something that would be really good is the youth leading a like something like Butterfly, like youth leading something like Butterfly to be able to share our stories out. And I feel like that would help Cocoon House not only with getting funding, but also having people more empathetic towards what is happening and like understanding what we have going on, because not a lot of people understand what is actually going on behind the whole homelessness in teenagers. They just kind of see the label homelessness and are like, ew, that's not a good thing, and aren't really fully empathetic towards it. And I just think us having something that we could share our own stories with instead of just like kind of these smaller things would be really nice.
Second that.
I agree. I mean, you ask what I do. A lot of my job is trying to inform the community to take a deeper look into like, you know, a lot of times there's misunderstanding, there's assumptions of who our young people are. Like it's constantly breaking down stereotypes, constantly trying to provide really helpful information as to why a young person might be at Cocoon House. But I think having that information come from youth is far more powerful than from me. And I do think that it's this balance of not having to ask you to go tell your personal story in front of people, because that also can be like takes a toll, but to where there's opportunity that, you know, we can explore. And I think that the community would be very supportive of an event like that, but it's again time and commitment to pulling it off. But I do think that each of you have an amazing story to tell. I think there's a lot to learn from you. It's really not even about funding. I think really if you can help people understand the realities, the funding comes along later. It's really about just building a relationship with who you are, who the organization is, and what we care about. And then the support comes along with it. But I'll just share that there are, you know, again, this plays into one of the struggles I have in my role is where to protect the identities of young people and where to elevate. And I get asked a lot of times, do you have a youth that can come along and tell their story? Do you have a youth that can, you know, participate in this activity? And a lot of times I'm like, I'm not feeling comfortable enough in this space. So I'm not going to ask one of our young people to join in that space because I just don't know if it's, I don't know everybody's personal story. I don't know if it's a safe place. But there are opportunities that if we had, you know, some work done within our youth board of identifying which types of opportunities might be good because the engagement with a community leader might be really worth it. I'd be interested in knowing who are those people I could get to come to a meeting in short notice. A lot of times they happen kind of quickly, but because I never want to make that decision for our youth, and I feel like I do a lot of times. Like, I'm making a judgment call that I don't want to put a young person out there, even though it might be the right thing to do from the young person's perspective.
I think you have a lot of youth that would be willing to go out there and share their stories, especially to like elevate their own experiences and all that. I think it would be really nice for you to ask the youth whether or not they feel comfortable with it. And I understand you being like kind of hesitant on it because they might not be the right person to share with or the right group. Something could go wrong. There are a lot of like things that could go wrong with that. But I think youth would be more the package to share their experience.
It's a good reminder. Thank you for that.
Another thing is in the community, I wish there was more things like the mayor's office has a youth board, and I wish there was more things like that for us to participate in, even not specifically geared towards homeless youth, but just youth in general.
Yeah.
I
Youth
feel like
leadership in general. Yep.
yeah, I feel like youth voices aren't heard enough. People are focusing on who's already adults, not who's going to be adults in a couple years or new adults. Like,
Yeah. It's future leaders, future adults. I'm passionate about looking at opportunities that, we may not see today that we need to be looking at. And so what kind of advocacy goals or events do you think would create a positive experience for youth at Cocoon House over the next year?
I think more events like Youth Advocacy Day run by Mockingbird Society. I think things just locally, like I know there's things that are free to attend because they're public, that you can just go and voice your things to the city council. I feel like getting youth involved in that would be a good idea.
So I think things that Oakley mentioned have been brought up to youth before, like during the meeting with the mayor, it was mentioned that we go out and do things to advocate, but I don't think youth exactly know how to go about that or where they're really going to go advocate. Like, it's been mentioned, but it hasn't been really pushed to give us our understanding of where we're going.
Yeah. We need that guiding hand. Cocoon has to be the little step stool, bump us up a little bit.
Well, I think getting the youth board, the chat committee, the youth councils all sort of working in some synergy, then you start to really more clearly paint the picture of what the opportunity is for the other youth that are maybe on the sidelines right now. Because I'd love to see it continue to elevate and have the impact grow and have the reach grow. I would love to see youth of Cocoon House spin off into other leadership, as you mentioned, Oakley, and not just around youth homelessness, genuine leadership in our community. Leadership, I think, is lacking in a lot of areas in communities right now. I think that phenomenon is probably going to continue to happen. We need the voices of young people. We need fresh ideas throughout the community. And so finding the areas where you're passionate, right, and looking for how do I add some value into that space. I think it would be really an honor for Cocoon House to help our young folks find what that is outside of Cocoon House, completely unrelated to the homeless system. Yeah, thinking about future, and so there's ways that Cocoon House can look for avenues to elevate advocacy opportunities. But what's your vision? What's your goal for your advocacy over the next few years?
I actually don't know.
You said you like helping people though, right?
Well, I like helping people. Well, I also want to like start like making clothes and selling clothes, and I also, once I get into that, I could like give clothes to like the homeless, and like give it to shelters and like donate for stuff like that.
Awesome.
So
Entrepreneurial spirit.
yeah, I guess. But it's hard because I have to do a lot of stuff before I turn 18.
Well, keep advocating for yourself and the things you need. How about you, Oakley?
That's such a hard question.
No one's going to hold you to it. Your plans might morph or change a little bit.
I think advocacy is always going to be a big part of my life. Just in future goals, I can see myself coming back to volunteer here. I just want to make sure that no voice goes unheard. Like, that's my goal, I think.
Mars?
Yeah, this is a hard question actually. I same as I do plan to come back here and volunteer, but also I think I'm gonna do a lot of like protesting and things to help the LGBT community, because that is a community that I'm in and is something that is really important to me, because like we have a lot that is going down for us that is really important to get our rights, not have things taken from us. I think it's really important to go out there and stand up for what you believe is important, and that is something that I believe needs to be taken care of, especially in our current world.
Great. Takes courage. That's amazing. Thank you. So for the folks who are watching the podcast, what are some things that they can do? How do you want to call them into this work and into involvement with Cocoon House?
I think people in the community need to stay informed, and like stay in touch with youth voices and listen to us. Like, be available to listen to us. Like, voting's a really important thing, because if you don't vote, nothing happens. But if you're actually trying to go for things that you want to change, then things change and everybody's happy. Everybody rides off in the sunset, sunshine and rainbows. Rain's glitter.
I agree with Opie there. I think it's important that people do like go out and vote, and listening to youth voices is really important, because we are genuinely the future. We are what you're gonna see stepping up, and you need to listen to what we are saying, because it's really important to know what the future is going to look like.
No.
Do you have thoughts, Caesar?
I just think voting is a very important thing.
Yeah.
And they could just, get involved with the community more and actually participate.
No. What about you?
For me, I think I always want the community to hear about Cocoon House and be more curious to pursue further education around the topics of homelessness, to become as enthusiastic as we are for our mission. And I'm always thinking about how do you keep the relevance of, there's a lot of distraction in the world right now. How do you keep the significance of youth homelessness right here in Snohomish County front and center for people? And I do think there's creative ways where our young people can interact or interface with the community that's really powerful. I think of like a youth board newsletter, like a way to like, hey, these are the things that are important to us right now, that's going on in our world right now, and calling people in, whether it's getting involved in advocacy with us on the issues that we're passionate about, whether it's taking a lead, leading an activity for a fundraising activity for Cocoon House's mission, or just bringing new relationships to the organization. I feel like there's so many opportunities that our youth could compel the community to do in really creative ways that we haven't done before. And so I think that would be something I would really be eager to look into for the community.
I like the idea of a newsletter. Like, that sounds like something I'd be very interested in participating in, with that it actually happened.
That's a nice balance of having youth voice. I think that it would resonate. And so again, I'm not signing us up for it necessarily, but I do think, like, let's think about how do we call the community in? Because I think you all have a way of conveying what's important, and through the eyes and the experiences that you have, I think it's something unique that our community at large doesn't get. And so I think there's a real powerful message that can be done through that. And I would love to see where that idea goes. Sometimes we do popcorn questions. It's just like fast questions, fast answers.
What do you do on your free time?
What do I do in my free? I enjoy hiking and trail running and mountain biking.
Very outdoorsy.
Outdoors stuff, always. Mars, favorite food?
Ramen.
Ramen. Oakley, favorite musician?
Dude, don't ask me about music. I suck at having a favorite music person. Okay, listen. It depends on my mood. Like, I listen to everything under the sun. So everything from classical to like punk. Like that, I'm all over the place.
Maybe not country though.
Including some
What's
country.
wrong with country?
That's you who just like.
Country isn't just, it's not a genre you're supposed to listen to all the time. I feel like Country music is mostly like if you're going on a road trip or something.
No, because I used to live in the South, so all you could listen to was country because of my parents.
Interesting. Caesar, if you had to be a car, what car would you be? Not own. What would you be?
Can I like, customize myself?
Yes.
Oh, okay then.
There's no limits to this question. We're
Then either a Chevy S10,
Oh, interesting.
a slug bug. If you could be a season, what would it be?
Oh, I'd be summer all day long.
Why? Do you see how hot it is outside? Do you like birria tacos?
Oh, well, I got it. Okay. Yes, I do. The taco shells are a little too rich for me. I like it. I like a untampered with soft taco or street taco.
Wait, but a birria taco is supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like that.
I know, but it's too much. It's like too rich. They're too oily. I like
You hate when your steak is too buttery and juicy.
since you put it that way. No. What smell would you be?
When, like the fresh air smell when it just rains and the grass is wet. And it's like a nice, like kind of like foggy, but it's not foggy, It's nice and crisp.
I could be any smell. Old shoe.
Thank you for watching and tuning in to Unhoused and Unscripted.
And thank you, Joe, for speaking with us today and listening to our questions.
Well, thank you all for having me. This is an honor. It's an intimidating honor. I've been way more intimidated to do this than other podcasts, but really want to thank you all for your courage and your leadership, and look forward to continuing and elevating opportunities for us to advocate and grow as an organization and individuals. Thank you.